All right, guys, today we are going to talk about context clues. Context clues are used when we come to vocabulary and words in text that we don't know, but we can use the text to figure out what they are. We're using clues within that text. So I went ahead and colored things ahead of time to save on time, but you can color when you are finished with the writing portion. So we're going to go ahead and glue down our title. At any point, if I'm going too fast, you can go ahead and pause it and catch up. We have a little piece right here. We're going to go ahead and fold that and put just a little bit of glue on our edge. And that way it will flip for us and it is connected to our book. We then can use some scissors and cut along our lines, separating our different types of context clues that we're going to talk about in a minute. All right, the first context clue we're going to talk about is a definition. And as we're reading in a text, sometimes they will actually define what the word means within the text. So we're going to flip up the definition. And again, at any point, if you need to pause to catch up, feel free to do that. The definition is when it explains the meaning of the word. Some helpful words are going to be, maybe it will say it means this or is. Those will be helpful. Right now we'll look at restatement. And restatement is when we come to a word that we don't know, but sometimes they'll state it in just a little bit of a different way. A restatement, it sums up the definition of the word, so it's very similar to definition, but sometimes they'll just change the wording ever so slightly. Some helpful words that we might see would be witches, and maybe even or. Now we'll go on to example. When we come to new words, sometimes the author will give us an example of that word, and that can be very helpful to us in figuring out what that new vocabulary means. We'll sometimes be able to find examples when the author uses words like such as, and maybe even or again. All right, moving on to cause and effect relationships. Cause and effect, sometimes the author will or writer will use cause and effect within the text to help you figure out new vocabulary. Just a reminder, cause and effect. Cause is when something happens that makes something else happen. And what happens is your effect. So if I tell Miss Shaw a joke, then that would be the cause, and then her laughing at my joke because I am so very funny would be the effect of me telling the joke. So the cause is the reason something happens, and the effect is what happens as a result. Some words that would be helpful in finding cause and effect, if that is the kind of context clue that we're working with, would be because and in order. All right, the next one and last one we're going to talk about is comparison. And when you look at the word comparison, you might actually see the word compare in there, and that is because they are related. Comparison is when the author, when we're coming across that new word that we haven't maybe seen before or had experience with, the author will actually compare that new word to another word, and that will help us figure out the meaning of that new word that we don't know. Some words that we will see, there's actually quite a few that would show us that they're comparing, would be contrast, alike, similar, maybe even unlike. And so it's really important that we are detectives as we read and we come across new vocabulary, that we actually use the text around that word that is new to us to try and find the meaning of that word. Because without knowing the meaning of that word, we're not having a 100% clear understanding of what we're reading. And of course, we need to be understanding what we're reading, or we're not really reading. So when we come across new words, it's really important that we stop and look at the text and try and figure out the meaning of that new word, which means that you are using context clues. Alrighty, well, there is an activity for us to do now. We need to use the task card assignment to show that we have learned the context clues.